Welcome to the Casuals Guide to UFC Fight Night Grand Dawson versus Bobby Green, where I let you filthy casuals know why this card is going to be a banger. So stop your crying and let's get right into it. In the main event, we got a casual's worst nightmare. Grant KGD Dawson takes on Bobby King Green. So Grant Dawson is a wrestler, and before you small brain casuals start crying, he's actually pretty tough. He's a wrestler who likes to get the job done when he gets it to the ground. 13 of his 20 wins are by submission and 4 by knockout or TKO. So don't you casuals worry, he isn't usually a lay and pray type of guy. He is the number 10 ranked lightweight and is on a roll with 3 straight wins over some really solid guys like Demirs Magulov, Marco Madsen, and Jared Gordon. And in his time in the UFC, he has taken down every single one of his opponents. He is a dog, willing to work hard for those takedowns, and when he does get them, he goes in for the kill. And he's facing a unique striker in Bobby Green. Green is coming off an impressive submission win over Tony Ferguson. I have not stopped crying since. He is a striker through and through. He's one of those few guys to utilize the Philly shell in MMA. He's got a great defense, and he is so hard to hit clean. He's got an elusive style, using his shell to really block those shots, and he does roll a lot of the shots that do get through. His footwork is good, but that being said, he is not perfect. He has been caught before, most recently against the heavy-hitting Drew Dober, aka the Crimson Chin, and his offense won't have a chance if he can't stop the takedowns. He's got decent takedown defense, but he has gotten taken down against the better grapplers in the division. But if he can keep this fight standing, he's got a real shot. So will Bobby Green be able to keep this fight standing and land his shots? Or will Grant Dawson's wrestling pressure drown the king? Don't miss out. In the co-main event, we have an explosive matchup between two very powerful fighters. We got one of Dana White's favorite fighters, Joe Bodybags Pyfer, taking on Judo Thunder Abdulrazak Al Hassan. Depending on how big of a casual you are, you might know these guys. Pyfer made a splash on the Contender Series, and he has won 2 in the UFC since. He's got good wins over Alan Amedovski and Gerald Mearshart, and he has shot up in popularity ever since. He's only 27 years old, and this will be his 14th pro fight. This guy has a deadly right hand. 8 of his 13 wins are by knockout or TKO, and he will be facing Al Hassan, who is 12-5 as a pro, but most of his fights have been in the UFC against some really good guys. And he has a deadly left hand. All 12 of his wins are by knockout or TKO, and this dude is buff as hell, bruh. We're gonna find out a lot about both these fighters, but I think this will be a better win for Joe Pyfer if he can get it, just because he's a lot younger and he's making a run to the top. But will Joe Pyfer continue his rise at middleweight with a good win here? Or will Judo Thunder strike the young prospect? Do not miss out. Oh man, the bangers do not stop here, because we got an underrated banger for you casuals as Alex the Great White Morono faces off against Joaquin Numanza Buckley. Man, this is going to be a sneaky, exciting fight. Alex Morono is a great grappler, but he's willing to bang with the best of them. He's got a unique striking style and pretty decent power. 6 wins by knockout or TKO, but he is a beast with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. 7 wins by submission, and he snatches necks at crazy speeds. He was lightning quick when he snatched Tim Mean's neck in his last fight, and he's going to have to be at his best when he faces the heavy-hitting Joaquin Buckley. You casuals might recognize him. He landed the most viral knockout ever when he spin-kicked Impa Kasanganay. 12 of his 16 wins have come by knockout or TKO, and that was at middleweight. He has now dropped down to welterweight and has proved that his power still translates. In his last fight, he finished Andre Fialho in devastating fashion. He's very explosive, and he can finish the fight any second. Will Alex Morono be clinical enough to beat Buckley, or will Numanza have too much power for the Great White? Do not miss out. So the Crimson Chin Drew Dober takes on Ricky the Gladiator Glenn. Drew is a heavy-hitting southpaw who has a knack for finishing fights. He has 10 wins by knockout or TKO, 9 wins by submission, but he is coming off a knockout loss to Matt Frevola. Although he got finished in his last fight, he is actually pretty durable. He's got a good chin on him, both literally and figuratively. He's going to have to tighten up his defense because he's facing Ricky Glenn, and Ricky Glenn might be a little less familiar for you casuals, but he is also a good finisher. He's got 11 wins by knockout or TKO, 5 wins by submission. He's also coming off a knockout loss to Christos Giagos, so both guys are going to be looking to get back on track, and with that much skill between the two, I would not be surprised if this does not make it to decision. So it's an underrated banger, and I know you casuals love finishes, and we might see one here. Will Ricky Glenn be able to withstand Drew's power, or will Dober's power be enough to take down the Gladiator? Do not miss out. Light heavyweights collide when Felipe Monstro Lins takes on Ion the Hulk Kutalaba. Lins is on a 3-fight win streak ever since dropping down to light heavyweight from heavyweight. He's got wins over Maxim Grisham, OSP, and Marcin Prachnio. He had a hard time at heavyweight in the UFC, losing his only 2 fights, but the move has been great for him. He has enough power to hold his own with the light heavyweights. He's got 8 knockout wins at heavyweight, and he's also pretty well rounded. He can grapple when he needs to. He even has 4 submission wins. He is facing Ion Kutalaba, who has proven time and time again that he is just insane. He's looking to turn a rough patch into a 2-fight win streak. He knocked out Tanner Boser in his last fight, and it is no secret that he's got huge power. 13 wins by knockout or TKO, but the ground game has been his weakness. It has gotten better, but he still makes a ton of mistakes. He got subbed by Johnny Walker, and that's only one of his 4 losses by submission. He will have to be wary of the takedowns. If he can stop the takedowns, he can bring the heat on the feet. Will Felipe Lins make it 4 in a row, or will Ion go Hulk smash on El Monstro? Do not miss out. Man, we got an underrated banger for you casuals when the great ape Alexander Hernandez takes on Señor Perfecto Bill Algeo. You casuals might remember Hernandez from a while back when he verbally abused Donald Cerrone, only to get physically abused in the octagon. He is 4-4 since then and has struggled to gain momentum. He's coming off a good decision win over Jim Miller, but he is dropping down to featherweight once again to face Bill Algeo. Algeo is coming off a submission win over TJ Brown, which was such an action-packed fight for as long as it lasted, and both are well-rounded, but I think Algeo has the grappling advantage. He's got 7 wins by submission, and both these guys move a lot. Both guys love to push the tempo, so expect this fight to move at a lightning pace. Man, I can't say anything but that this is going to be a banger, man. Will Señor Perfecto be able to get the perfect result, or will the Great Ape be the one to bang his chest? Do not miss out. Alright guys, so that was the Casuals Guide to Fight Night Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. I hope you casuals learned a thing or two. I hope I helped y'all get some wrinkles on y'all brains. But some of the fights that you casuals might like are Chris Gutierrez versus Montel Jackson. This fight has banger written all over it. And also, Nate Maness versus Matheus Mendonça is sure to bring the fireworks. Try to catch those if you can. But yep, that was my rundown of the card. It's going to be a great night of fights. Do not forget to tune in. And I'll see you next week for Fight Night Yusuf versus Barboza. But until then, protect your neck and take care.